My name is Savannah Young, and this is my presentation on the multicolor ball clock by George Nelson. Nelson was born on May 29, 1908 in Hartford, Connecticut. He went to Yale University and received the Rome Prize to study in the Palace in Rome. He died in 1986. World War II had ended. This was the boom era. Babies, suburbs, and the economy were all booming. Civil rights and the Cold War were beginning to happen in the U.S. This project was created by George Nelson from 1948 to 1969. Since this is a clock, it can be placed almost anywhere. Most people place them in their homes or office areas. These clocks are currently being sold for almost $400. There have been many different versions of this clock created in many different shapes and colors. The ball clock was created right after World War II. This meant that it had a lot of influence from the 1950s. The clock was originally created before Nelson and others started to create versions, which was very simple. It had a white circle for the center with 12 long silver skinny poles that came out of the circle. On the end of each pole had a plastic ball at the end. These balls were multiple different colors. For the arrows of the clock, Nelson created one abstract arrow and another that was a long line with an oval at the end. These clocks do not have numbers on them, which made them harder to tell time quickly. Originally, the clock was offered in 6 different color variations. These clocks were electric, provided with a cord and plug, or as a chronopack. A chronopack meant that the clock was mounted in a standard outlet box. These clocks were originally created for Howard Miller. However, Miller discontinued the line in the 1980s, after approximately 40 years on sale. Petro picked up the line of clocks in the 1990s. The clock was originally called the Howard Miller. It is still sometimes referred to as this when you search for it online. The sunflower clock is one of the very popular versions of this clock. It also comes in 3 different versions. Another version of the ball clock was the eye clock. This was marketed diagonal versus horizontal like the rest. When these were marketed, they were called Howard Miller clocks instead of George Nelson clocks. This clock was inspired by the future. Nelson wanted to create a sense of modernism. Many people have referred to this clock as something out of the Jetsons' home. During this time, the economy was booming, so the need for new products was rising. People were spending money, and they wanted the most up-to-date things to spend that money on. This was a big reason for Nelson to do a lot of his designing during this time. By also creating different variations, he allowed for his product to reach all of the different consumers.